See if I can
She's gonna cry.
speed up here.
She's just doing her job.
This is the story of the loaves and the fish in the Gospel of Mark, and you can see kind of, again, the evolution of the image by looking at this image and so on. But what you have here in the loaves and the fish is, you've heard maybe the interpretation that the loaves and the fish wasn't really necessarily, and this is one interpretation, I'm not saying it's the interpretation, but one interpretation is that Jesus didn't start replicating loaves and fish. That when one person came forth with their gifts, it started, and the ability to share the gifts, it started a chain reaction of sharing throughout the crowd. And so that's the interpretation Donald Jackson has used in this particular piece of art. So you've got the loaves and the fish kind of all over the top, and in fact incorporated Native American baskets, weaves in the patterns there, and it goes around the page. So representing that chain reaction of sharing. You'll also notice as you go around the page, there's some intentional blank white spots. And those are, as I said, they're intentional. Donald Jackson left those blank spots there, representing for us the times in our lives when we may be too busy that we pass an opportunity to share by. We don't intentionally not share, but we're just too busy to share. And then there's these black bars. And those black bars represent those times when we intentionally choose not to share. So within the Catholic tradition, that's called the sins of omission and the sins of commission. And so that's represented in this as well. This is one of my favorites. I've got lots of favorites, but this is the sower and the seed. And this is done by Aidan Hart in typical iconography style. But not only is this icon style, but Aidan Hart breaks some rules of icon style painting here. Anybody figure out what the rule he broke is?
The two fingers, is it?
No.
So it continues off the page?
The hand is outside the frame of the picture, yeah. And so the hand is outside the frame of the picture, and the seeds, in fact, continue into the text. You may also want to note that Jesus is wearing blue jeans. I've done this at Catholic high schools, and they say, well, he should get a detention for that. But you see the mounds, the four mounds, the bird that comes and eats the soil, the rocky ground, the thorny ground, and then the fertile ground. And the seeds fall through. Now this is an example of Mark chapter 4, verses 3 through 9. So the parable just starts on this page, and the rest of the parable is on the opposite page. So I found this out, and I'm like, why did they do that this way? You want to focus on the art while you read the parable. Well, the seeds fall down through the text of the call of the apostles. And for me, that kind of led me to reflect on, what's the text of my life? What text do I fill my life with? And how does the seed of the gospel come through that text? One other thing, what's this bird doing there? That darn bird. A lot of people will say he's eating the seeds, but you'll notice this comes back to the mistakes. This is the way they made the mistake, or they covered the mistake, so to speak. Once this page is done, it's done. And the editor went back and he said, uh-oh, these two columns don't line up. So they knew a whole line was missing. And so they went back, they found the line, and in order to redo this page, they would have had to scrape it and recondition the vellum. And so, again, you're losing days, if not weeks, to do that. Plus, in this particular case, the art was already on the page. And so you would have had to redo that art. So what they did is they took the bird, the beak is pointing to where the line ought to go. The bird's got a rope in his talons, and it's circling the line, and the line goes there. Donald Jackson showed where he kind of got the inspiration for this when he did a slideshow here. Monks standing on each other's shoulders with the final monk leaning over and pointing to where, and that's from the 15th century. So.
Is this everything that they've finished?
Here is the story of the resurrection in the Gospel of Mark. And throughout history, the butterfly has been a symbol of the resurrection for Christian people. And so you have all stages of the butterfly going up the milkweed here. the caterpillar, the chrysalis, and then the butterfly. But you'll notice in this Y there, there's a grasshopper. The grasshopper is the natural enemy of the butterfly. And this speaks to our Christian life as well, that sometimes, even though we know we're saved, even though we know we live in Christ, we let sin come in and eat away at that Christian life. And so thus the butterfly and the grasshopper.